project. Black on black and beauty's intact. Trust, there's nothing you lack. Nothing can ever sever our soul ties when we together. You my ride and tie, girl, forever, ever. Forever, ever you fly in any weather. Black, intelligent, smart and clever, full of grace and honor. How dare we ponder? Your strength make a black man's heart grow fonder. Protect our black queens at any cost. See, without the black queen, we catch a loss, B. Taking L's from left to right, vision blurred, but with the black queen we elevate, you heard? Honey, caramel, hazelnut, bronze, chocolate, mocha, all shades, no cons. Skin absorbing all the sun, so much melanin. Love the color of your beauty and the light within. Concept, baby.
Concepts, you said it right. I am beautiful in God's sight. Don't you know I am Mother Earth? Everything black and beautiful I have birthed. Let's review my history. Something is steeped in mystery. Royal blood runs through my veins. I have carried my people's pains. I am dark like a night in Tunisia. I possess power and wealth like the Queen of Sheba. Naya, Kim, Cynthia, Viola, Kadia, Zozabini, Gabrielle, Beverly, Issa, from Africa, India, America, Jamaica. Dark beauty runs across the world, make no mistake, beautiful mind and beautiful skin. The peace and power that come from within. Don't you feel the pull? We are the color of beautiful.
Image and mirror in his reflection. Black and beautiful, my shortcomings is his perfections. Addicted to the spoil and method, that's why they toil. On the clouds, I'm in crave. Homage to my people who fight to be equal.
Welcome, beautiful Colorism Conversations. Let's see, we've got some noise going on here. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay. Welcome to Colorism Conversations. I am Dr. Karen Moore, founder of I Am the Color of Beautiful, global spoken word initiative and movement. And I'm so glad to be joined again this evening for Colorism Conversations with my sister, Renee Moore, who is the Color of Beautiful's public health advisor. And so we're going to be talking tonight about mental health, public health, and skin lightening creams, bleaches. And we found out that there's some interesting information based on, hey, beautiful cousin, based on the ingredients that are involved with whatever process you are using. So welcome, Renee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for agreeing to join me again today for Colorism Conversations. And as we begin to talk about some different things, because one of the things that's so important to realize about colorism is how it affects people. And that even now we're finding that there is this issue with skin lightening. And so we have found some different information. And actually, we were very surprised to find out that right here in Philadelphia, you can get skin lightening treatments.
Yes. And so I think it's not actually just Philadelphia. I think it's probably more prevalent than we think, because there's, depending upon what term you want to use. So there's lightening, brightening, and whitening. And it's lightening is supposed to be a more gradual process, not as harsh, whereas whitening is a harsher process that occurs more quickly.
That's the bleaching?
Right. But so they use all these terms interchangeably: lightening, whitening, bleaching. Now, brightening is supposed to be, in its true form, you have dead skin cells that are supposed to shed and show your new skin cells. Well, sometimes they don't shed equally, or they don't shed as well. So brightening is supposed to basically just be a removal of those dead skin cells to reveal that new, fresh layer of skin. So you have a brighter tone to your skin. It's not supposed to be anything necessarily harmful. However, when they market these products, you really have to look at the ingredients, because it may be marketed as a brightener or a lightener, but it can contain harmful ingredients which are more likely to bleach or whiten your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And the two most harmful ingredients that have been found are hydrocodone and mercury. And they can do very horrible damage to your skin. Mercury, you can get mercury poisoning if you're using too much. And some of these products have hundreds of times the legal limit.
Mm-hmm.
And they're right here in the US being sold and being used. And even when you go to a professional, you need to know what is in that product that they're using. If you're going for lightening, you need to know, which I don't know why you want to go for lightening, but the other thing they say is it's all how you market it. You want even skin tone, you want to get rid of dark spots and blemishes, but what's in that product that you're using to do that?
Right. But I was just really surprised that you can actually go to places where here in Philadelphia, because many times when we think, because again, so much of what we've learned is that it's not something that's really talked about here in the United States. And even to find statistics and data on skin lightening and skin bleaching and all of those different things here in the United States is very difficult to find that information. And it was just really surprising to me that even right here in Philadelphia, that there is a place where you can go. And like you say, they market it different ways, but it actually said it will lighten dark skin.
Right.
So that giving the idea that if you have dark skin and you no longer want to have dark skin, that you can come here and we can put you through these processes. And then, there's a process that you go through in the office, apparently, and then they send you home with more product to use to continue to lighten your skin. And so it even begins for me because I'm actually going to call. I decided that I'm going to call because I want to find out what their vetting process is. Do you ask me questions? Do you find out why it is? Are you even concerned? Which I'm sure they probably aren't so much concerned with why I want to lighten my skin from a mental health kind of standpoint about what's going on with me, that I would choose to want to lighten my skin. So it to me, it becomes an issue of, we're talking about the fact that many of these things are just not good for your skin and that they can cause a lot of problems. Some of them have even been found to cause cancer.
Right.
But what are you even at all addressing? What is the issue that is going on with me that I want to change my appearance and I want to change the color of my skin? To me, there needs to be some concern there. Now, mind you, because I am very much involved in the idea of colorism and what colorism means for people who are dark skinned. But my concern is, are these people even at all addressing what is going on with the person that they want to change their skin tone to where it's lighter than the skin tone that they were born with, that God gave them?
Well, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I would venture to say that most of them probably are not addressing the mental aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because they're not psychiatrists, they're not psychologists, they're dermatologists. I can never say that word, as aestheticians,
Something like that.
something like that, right? So they're they are, and a lot of them are make their money by helping you to feel beautiful by changing your appearance.
Right.
So they'll do. I mean, some of these places are full service. We can lighten your skin, we can give you facelift, we can give you Botox injections, we can make you look like whatever it is you want to look like. And Harriet's absolutely right. A lot of it is that TV image thing.
Right.
And one of the things that is very interesting is it's very hard to find statistics not only about the use in the U.S., but specifically among African Americans born here, because a lot of the skin bleaching that does occur here is based on immigrants that come with those African immigrants and Indian immigrants and Jamaican immigrants. The skin bleaching is huge in some of these countries.
Yeah.
So when they come here, they either want to continue or start what they've been doing and has been acceptable to a certain extent in their own cultures.
Right. And so one of the things that I think is so important for us to talk about is the fact that the whole idea of dark skin not being beautiful, not being valuable, not being intelligent, that many of these concepts, many of these beliefs, many of these cultural ideologies stem for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
So this is centuries of people's sometimes it's a family thing. And sometimes, like I say, it is cultural, and that people, and I always want to be very, very, very mindful of people who, not demeaning people, because we always talking about this issue with civility and trying to understand people and not demeaning people who, for whatever reason, are choosing to lighten their skin. But I do think that we do have to begin to look at where all of this continues to come from, and when it got to be an issue of people actually wanting to change the color of their skin and not in many instances understanding the health issues with it, and the whole idea that you need to do this in order to be accepted. And I think that we've got to really begin to look at what and yes, it comes from television, it comes from social media.
I think it goes back even further than that. I think it goes back even further than that. I mean, the origin of it was colonialism. You have white Europeans going into into a lot of these countries, taking over and being the one in charge. And then they have children with people who are there. So there you get these light-skinned black people who, let's just take America, okay? Slave owners were here, they're white, they have privilege. Their children with slaves, though the ones that were light-skinned, they're in the house. They have better living conditions. They have the possibility of learning to read. They have the possibility of even gaining their freedom. Then some of them can even pass and be accepted into the white world. And then because they are light-skinned too, when they want to be inclusive, it's a little bit more acceptable for me to include you as a light-skinned person because it doesn't offend me as much than to include a black-skinned person. So light-skinned people were typically the ones who a lot of times ended up being more educated, having better access to job opportunities. So when you see that, you're thinking, that's what's going to get me where I need to be, is having light skin. So you do what you need to do to get your hair to look the way you think it should look. And ultimately to get your, and not only, I don't think that originally when these creams and things came out that people recognized how harmful they were. But I think that now people who, I think now it's just a matter of a lot of times just a lot of self-loathing. But you are willing to risk your health to be accepted in a way that you feel will open up doors for you. And you have that reinforced by people, you know, saying to you, you'd be pretty if you were lighter, or you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl.
Mm-hmm. Your language definitely has a lot to do with it. How people talk to us, what people say to us. And I think that there needs to be reinforcement within the family, if possible. But many times the family is who is perpetrating the colorism. But, you know, we have to be very, very, very careful of the language that we use when it comes to color, because many times, especially when we're in front of our children, because how I might kid with you about being light skinned or whatever name I may call you, a child may not know that I am just kidding with Aunt Renee.
Right.
They may not know that this is a joke between me and Aunt Renee, or if you call me Blackie or Darkie, whatever, the child may not understand that there, you know, this is how we talk to each other. But the child is hearing, you know, this, and they're hearing it in a context that usually, even sometimes when you're joking, the context that is given with the word that you're using, a child doesn't understand that. All they hear is, okay, she called her Blackie. And, you know, depending on how I respond to it, the child still is not really understanding the negative context of that word. And so we're raising children who are not coming into appreciation of the beauty
of all of our skin tones. And so now that now I, you know, I guess for myself, yes, I wanted to be lighter. Yes, I wanted to definitely be lighter. I did not want to be this color. And but it never even entered into my mind specifically. But on the other side of that, I was fortunate that I grew up in a house where I didn't, I was not treated differently, though you were still the favorite child. Just let me put that out there. But I don't feel that I was treated differently because I'm darker, because actually our parents were pretty much more my complexion than yours. You got that complexion from your grandmother, your father's mother. But so I never felt that way within my household, that I was, you know, that there was an issue of my color. It wasn't until I got out into society that I began to see that there was a difference, and that, you know, there was an issue with my dark skin. But I can't honestly say that I ever, even though I wanted to be lighter, and you know, for a long time, that was how I felt, that I wanted to be lighter, but not to the extent that I wanted to change my appearance in that way by lightening my skin.
Well, you know, I think that too, you know, a lot of it has to do with not only your home environment, but your social environment, to the extent that, let's take India, for instance. You know, they're basically, the first thing they ask when a child is born is not, is the child healthy? They ask, is the child light or dark? You know, they'll say things like, you know, oh, don't stay out in the sun, you'll never get married because you'll be dark. You know, so their whole identity, their whole self-worth, their whole, there was an article I was reading that says, you know, they had, typically in India, it's a caste system. And so it just happens that, of course, the darker people are at the bottom end of the caste.
Right.
So they train, and so they don't have as many job opportunities available to them. They don't have as many educational opportunities available to them. So they trained a class of 100 women to be airline stewardesses. None of them got hired because they were too dark. So in a lot of ways, it's an economic issue. It's an educational, it's an access issue. It's a social issue, where, as if marriage is important in your culture, you're not going to get married if you're dark.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Because now nobody wants you. You know, so it's all these things that we're being fed. And, you know, even as children, when you're growing up and you see the images of the princess, there were no black princesses when we were growing up.
No,
You know, there were no black.
Not when we were growing up. No, you didn't
No, and to be honest with you, I don't know if you remember the show Julia. That was like revolutionary.
Oh yeah.
But the interesting thing was, she was still a single mother.
Yeah, but at least Diane Carroll was.
But she was brown skinned.
Woman.
She was brown skinned, but that was just revolutionary, that a brown skinned woman could be a nurse.
Yeah, because I was even telling you, it's amazing to me, because I think, though, I remember very distinctly when I was younger, that every brown skinned girl wanted to be Pam Grier and Foxy Brown.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, to be Pam Grier was like, that would have been the thing, with her afro. And of course, she had an amazing body, which we can only all dream of. But, you know, the thing was to be Pam Grier and Foxy Brown.
Well, Pam Grier and Foxy Brown.
That we kind of had, this was like the 70s, I guess. We kind of had somebody that we looked at within imagery that looked like me. Mm-hmm. I mean, even though to a certain extent, though, Foxy Brown was was sexualized, though. In a lot of ways, Foxy Brown's was, and many times dark-skinned women get sexualized.
Right.
So, but still, nonetheless, Foxy Brown and Pam Grier was who every little brown-skinned girl wanted to be Pam Grier. But I think that what has happened after, I want to say after the civil rights movement, it seemed that, and we talked about this a little bit before, that after the civil rights movement, after the whole Black Power and Black is Beautiful, after that whole movement, we seem to have lost some of that Black is Beautiful identity. And I'm not saying that the dark-skinned people didn't struggle even then, but there was still the whole idea that our hair was beautiful, our skin was beautiful, Black was beautiful. And it wasn't so much that I can remember. It wasn't so much about light skin versus dark skin, though I'm sure there still was some of that. There still was some of that, but it wasn't as openly prevalent, I think, as it was after the civil rights movement. And the fact that even now there still is so much to work that still has to be done, because we're still in this place of not valuing dark skin. And this is like you said, this is around the world. This just isn't the United States. And the fact that people have to resort to such drastic measures to feel valuable and acceptable and beautiful is something that, to me, it's just not acceptable. That people have to resort to putting things in their body or things on their skin that have the potential to do real damage to their organs, to their skin, but still all of that is worth risking just to be accepted and have lighter skin.
Yeah.
It's
like I say, I think that as far as
we have to continue to address this issue, because feeling like, feeling that you're not valuable, that you can't, feeling that in cultures that you won't get married, that you won't get a job, that you won't, this is something that has to change on a global scale, that, dark skin is it's not a badge of shame.
No, it's not. But I think that, you were saying what happened after the Black is Beautiful movement is, unfortunately, I think that movement hit up against white corporate America, because there was a time when, you did not see a lot of dark-skinned women in certain positions because you didn't fit the corporate identity or the corporate culture.
Yeah.
You couldn't go in there with your afro, with your twists, with your locks. You might go in here, but if you want to be, here, you weren't going to make it. And so you are faced with the reality of, and I'm not saying to the extent of skin lightening, but some people may have done that. What do I need to do to be successful financially and career-wise? And a lot of times it just as it is, in other cultures, it's if you bump up against that whole mindset and it's not only changing our mindsets, but it's changing other cultures' mindsets as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We always say that colorism is intraracial as well as interracial.
Right. And we have to begin to, and one of the ways that we have to begin to do this, which I say all the time, is that we have to begin to establish for ourselves what beauty is. And we have to begin to say that, it's Sir Dr. Rivers always says there are 7.8 billion people in the world and they all have value.
That's right.
So you know, we have to be willing to stand up for each other, for one thing. We
Yeah.
have to be willing to say, this is what is beautiful, that we're not going to continue to allow television, Hollywood, social media, and all of these other things to dictate to us what is beautiful for us. And we've got to begin to help other people in other cultures understand that you have to say that I am valuable, I am worthy, I am beautiful. And we have to begin to declare that and to say it and to mean it and to stand up for I am the color of beautiful. And
And
that
I,
I'm not going to allow anyone else, I don't care who it is, because you know one of the things that I have found that I found to be interesting is that in some instances there are young people who now are beginning to not buy into what their grandparents and parents have said regarding color and what's worthy and what's not. I think that there are more young people starting to stand up and say, I was reading an article, though this was particularly talking about white young people, but how they've even challenged their parents and their grandparents about their black friends because they have found they have black friends and they're saying it's not true what you're saying about black people.
well, I think a lot of that comes from um, just some of the advances that Black people have made over time, and the fact that now when a lot of these white young people, they may have grown up and gone to all white schools, but now when you're going to college, you're going to college with people of all nationalities, and you're beginning to actually interact because my thing always is you can't understand something you've never even had sat down and had a conversation about. So now that these young people are in schools that have more minorities, more people of various hues, they can see that, you know what, you bleed red just like I do. You like the same music that I do. Hey, look, I'll admit it, I like country music. Okay? So we can come together and see that, we have more in common than we have that's different. And that you're now having black professors, black black professionals coming into the colleges giving lectures, and so you can now see that, what, black people really are intelligent. you know you're beginning there. I think that the whole thing is that these young people are now just exposed to more of who we really are than just the idea that their parents or their grandparents may have told them about, or the images that they're getting on television.
Right, right. And this
So
someone who has joined us said it's what society has dictated and led us to believe that being dark is not beautiful. People have to be transformed by our thinking. Start by teaching our children that all colors are beautiful. And that's really a key. That's really key is, what we are telling our children, what we're teaching our children, what we're saying to our children. And it's interesting because I have found as I become more and more aware as I deal with colorism, it's interesting to me how even on now television, I watch a show For Life. And it's about a guy who was falsely accused of being a drug kingpin and he's in jail and he becomes a lawyer in jail. Now it's loosely based on a true story because the guy that actually the story is based on, I don't think he became a lawyer while he was in jail. But anyway, the guy becomes a lawyer while he's in jail and then he gets all of that stuff. But the bottom line is, I noticed that all of the men that were in jail on this show, they're all dark skinned.
mm,
They're all dark skinned for the most part. They are all dark skinned men who are these criminals and who are in jail for life.
mm.
You begin to see that and you begin to start looking at different shows and how we are being portrayed on television as well as in the media. And so when we start talking about being able to understand the beauty of Black skin, of dark skin, it is so important that we are letting our children know that some of the stuff that you see on television,
Mhm.
not all, because if you're looking at television, a lot of times all you're seeing, I was watching the show the other day too called Thief with Andre Barber, and Malik Yoba's in it, and they're thieves. Both of these guys are dark-skinned men. Now, I'm
Mhm.
not saying that light-skinned men maybe haven't been portrayed as criminals, but typically, in most of the things, especially I've seen lately, they're primarily dark-skinned men.
Well, that's usually the way it's portrayed. Dark-skinned men are thieves and criminals, and the light-skinned man is the hero, the guy that everybody wants. So, because I mean, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but even that Tyler Perry movie, one of the guy that was beating the woman
Yeah,
was a dark-skinned guy, and who comes to save her?
the
Shamar Moore.
light-skinned Shamar Moore.
So, I mean,
Don't take away from him; he's beautiful.
oh, he is. He is a gorgeous guy, but I mean, there's some dark-skinned guys that are gorgeous too. Okay.
Girl, don't start me naming them now.
Hello.
Forrest Chestnut and Blair Underwood, and oh my gosh, Denzel. I still love me some Denzel. He's gotten older now, but I still love Denzel.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyway, so
He got off course for a moment.
girl, you made me lose my train of thought.
Not for Sunday.
You made me lose my train of thought. Oh, so
So Harriet says, they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We need to know and understand we behold our own beauty, and what we behold for ourselves is all that should matter. And that, gentlemen, is where it is.
And then we also have to watch our language, because even there are certain things that we have just grown up saying that we don't really realize the implications of. And like the term mulatto is not a very flattering term. It's actually an offensive term.
I didn't know red bone was offensive.
Red bone is offensive.
I didn't know that because, people always use it.
Right. And so we need to learn how to make sure that the language that we're saying, what we're saying in front of our children is demonstrating our respect for everybody. And like you were talking about the joke, a lot of it used to be, when we were growing up, it used to be the you so dark, or your mama's so dark kind of things, that comedians did those jokes. And they, like you said, they were meant to be comedic, but they're offensive.
Yeah.
And it portrays those people in a certain light that's not flattering.
Right. They even talk about the certain comedians, but I believe somebody called out, I don't want to say the name because I'm not absolutely positive, but there was a comedian who was called out about saying things about dark-skinned women, and he has a dark-skinned daughter. So, it's the same thing with some of the rappers that have said things about dark-skinned women, and they have dark-skinned daughters.
Yeah, or they basically, the rap videos, all the women that are beautiful and desirable are light skin, long flowing hair, and then you got those that are the ghetto chicks that are dark skinned. A lot of times they're heavier set to kind of just disparage being dark skinned, and there's nothing wrong with being dark skinned, and there's nothing wrong with being heavy set. But it just, the way they portray you makes you look like you're not desirable.
Right.
And what is it? Viola Davis said, why can't she play the leading lady? Why can't she play the love interest?
Exactly. So it is an issue that now has gotten to the place where there are people, because now, and I'm not going to use any names, but there has even been brought to light about certain celebrities that are lightening their skin. And the fact that they feel that that's how they're going to get ahead, or they're going to be more accepted, I'm assuming, in mainstream, that they feel that it is necessary to lighten their skin. And some of them, it's pretty noticeable how they've made a complete change in their appearance from when they first started out. Now, some of it is when you start talking about, because who was it? I want to say it was, there was some actress. I'm not going to call her name because I don't want to call the wrong name, but there was an actress who flipped out on some magazine, who made her appear lighter than she was.
Right.
So, again, for selling magazines, though I have to honestly say, if you have not seen the Vanity Fair cover with Viola Davis,
oh my God, she's gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, it was absolutely stunning. It was absolutely stunning. But so there are celebrities that people are saying now, unless somebody, I mean, some of it's very noticeable, but unless somebody comes out and says they're doing it, I mean, I don't think, because sometimes too, when you start looking at pictures can sometimes be about lighting.
Well, I'm sorry. I agree with that to a certain extent, but you can't tell me that there's any lighting that could make you the same skin tone as me.
Oh no, not
No.
the same skin.
So I mean, when you're looking at those drastic different, I mean, lighting can account for a little bit.
Oh, but lighting's everything.
Right, but I'm saying lighting is everything, but it only accounts for a little bit of change in your skin tone. You shouldn't be 4 or 5 shades lighter than you were.
Not that many shades, but sometimes you can appear.
You can appear lighter, yes.
Lighter, because
I'm talking about those that are drastic.
With my head wrap, the picture that I use with my head wrap, to me, I look lighter than I naturally am.
You do, but you don't look 5 shades lighter.
No, not 5 shades, no.
So a lot of these, some of these people look, and you don't even look, I would say 3 or 4 shades lighter. A lot of these people that, to me, there's a certain amount of self-loathing that goes with the extreme to which these people do this.
Yeah, because some people,
and I'm very concerned about it, because these are people who should have doctors and psychiatrists or somebody in their life who can say to them, you know what, do you recognize how this is impacting your health?
Yeah, but see, when you have money, when you have money, it does, people might say, they might mention something to you, but as long as you can pay for it, nobody's really going to, I don't think people really press people who have money to really say, if they want it, they want it. And because they have money, they get what they want.
So I guess I don't know where your family is at this point. And then a lot of the stuff that they're doing is stuff that, there's now the injections you can take.
Yeah.
So, I really feel my heart really goes out to people who feel they have to go to that extreme to be happy.
Yeah.
Because are you really happy if you have to change who you are that extensively?
And then what do you have to do to keep up with it? I mean,
you
have lightened your skin to the point where you are 3, 4, 5 shades lighter than your natural. And and again, I mean, we have to look at the fact that whatever you're putting on your skin, or whatever you're injecting into your body is not is taking away the melanin, or not allowing the melanin to do what it normally does in your skin.
These people can't go out in the sun because they have basically destroyed their protection mechanism. So they go out in the sun, they get burned. Your skin actually starts to thin.
Oh.
So, I mean, so it's not only physically affecting you, but just the whole mental, where are you mentally that you feel you've got to go to that extreme to be accepted and happy? And the people I really don't understand are the people who do it after they get money. Because if you made money, the skin tone you were, why do you feel it necessary to change your skin tone now that you have money?
Because there still is this whole idea of what beauty is. There's still this whole idea that this is what, the closer you are to being white and having European features, the closer you are to being beautiful. And it all hinges on beauty for so many people who are in, I think for people who their beauty, because, well, let me put it this way. For some people, it's not even about talent, it's about their beauty.
Mhm.
So because it's about beauty and everything is about beauty, and you gotta have boobs and you gotta have butt. Now I got boobs and butt I don't want. But you got to have these amazing boobs, and you got to have this amazing butt, and you got to have this amazing face, and you got to, cheekbones have to be a certain way, and it's all about what is being sold to us as beautiful. And if you don't look like what's being sold to us as beautiful, then I need to get to that place. Because see, the concern becomes, I think, especially because I think that all women, in particularly all women, go through this as you get older. And even for certain for certain what I want to say, for certain jobs, we'll just say jobs because I can't think of another word for it right now. But for certain jobs, let's say if you decide you want to be an actress, okay? Once you get past a certain age, and you'll hear actresses say this, the parts that are available to you
Mhm.
are not as many because you're not young anymore. You're not that young, beautiful actress that came on the scene in the first place. And so now you've got to compete against what's considered young and beautiful. And so women, as we age, we are always trying to do something to look younger.
Yeah, that's true.
And when it comes to this whole idea of beauty and what the industry, let me put it that way, what the industry determines is beautiful, and what they're selling to us as this is what beautiful is, then if I'm going to be able to continue to, and I say this all the time about people who really can't sing. People who really can't sing, to me as a musician, people who really can't sing, they have a very, once you start aging and you can't sing, people no longer want to see you because you're no longer beautiful and you can't sing.
Yeah,
It was
that's
fine when you were young and you were beautiful and you were shaking all that stuff. Not now, nobody wants to see you shaking that. So,
yeah.
you now have to find other ways to make yourself beautiful, because this is what you want to see. I remember
But it's not.
Lettucey was told she would never make it because she was not pretty. Now,
Wow.
thank God she didn't go bleaching her skin and stuff, but this is what dark skinned women have to deal with. And like I say, it's all about what's beautiful. How am I going to be beautiful? How can I still maintain being the person that people want to come and see, that people want to go to the movies and see, that people want to come to the concerts and see, that people want to go, oh, she's so beautiful, I'll do whatever it takes to be that person.
Right. So, Harriet said that lighting and makeup, well, I agree with it as far as the face is concerned, but these people have changed color all over their body. And I refuse to believe that every time you get ready to go on stage, you have a total makeup application to your entire body. And that would mean every morning you have to have that, because when you go out in public, whether you're on stage or not, people are going to see you. So it's not only your face, it's your entire body. And they even have special creams to get, they can tell, you can tell people who are bleaching because of certain areas like your knuckles and your elbows are harder areas to bleach. I mean, they get all kind of treatment done. And
I remember about the boobs and the butt.
Got to stand in line and get them away, because I'm in that. I'm trying to give some of mine away.
We don't want what we got.
Oh. Hello. But the other thing that I wanted to say that I find so very interesting is in a lot of ways, the very culture that's telling us our Black is not beautiful also has a huge industry for tanning. So you're trying to get my color, but you're going to tell me my color on me isn't beautiful. Now, there are some that, what do they call them? Like Sweden and Denmark, and those countries where those people are just naturally very pale, and you don't see, because they don't tan well, they tend to burn if you're really, really a very light white person.
Right.
Irish people tend to burn sometimes, but you do have those people who feel that, they're out in the sun. So I'm trying to understand. I need somebody to explain to me why you're feeling that you can go and get darker, but you're telling me I'm too dark. You're going to tell me that it's beautiful for you to have a tan, but it's not beautiful for me to have a tan.
Right. Right. Because there is an understanding of the beauty of brown skin, but people don't want to acknowledge that, even though they do know. They do know that there's beauty in brown skin, whether it be light brown skin or dark brown skin, that there's beauty in all of it, but they don't want to acknowledge that, because, and I believe that it's because, once again, it's like so many other things that have happened to people of color, is that if we really came into the knowledge and understanding of our true beauty and our true amazingness and our true intelligence and if we really grabbed a hold of it, the things that we could do and accomplish as a people collectively. I'm not talking about individual accomplishments. I'm talking about as a people collectively. If we truly understood our beauty and our value and our intelligence, the things that we could do collectively.
Oh yeah. And not only,
that's what the fear is. It's fear about if we come to really know and understand. It's better to oppress people so that they don't understand, and we're still living under so much oppression and not understanding all the things that we have as a people. And it's not just the music and the singing and the sports. There's other stuff too.
Oh yeah, we're astronauts. We're all kind of things. Doctors, lawyers, inventors. So we're intelligent people. And it's just I personally feel that it's just such a part, something that has been so ingrained in a lot of people of color, that they're less than, they're not beautiful, that for older people it might be a matter of even just getting counseling to kind of be deprogrammed, because essentially what it is programming. We are programmed from day one about what is beautiful and what is not beautiful. And if you don't happen to have parents who kind of counteract that message that you get from the world,
right,
you're in trouble, and you grow up feeling less than.
Right.
and you grow up feeling ugly.
Right.
And it's not, and the part that really breaks my heart is we do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's really affecting our ability. It's affecting our health. It's affecting our physical health because, you know, you're stressed. A lot of people deal with their stress by eating.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when you get overweight, you make yourself more susceptible to diabetes. You make yourself more susceptible to heart disease. A lot of it, we're getting more depressed. We have high rates of depression, and we're not culturally people who seek help from
Mhm.
mental health professionals.
Which we
And so we then turn to these other things that make us feel better. So, you know, I'm depressed because I'm dark. If I lighten my skin, I'll be happy. Will you?
not if you have not addressed the core issues of why you hate your skin.
And if you
You haven't
hate your
really
skin,
addressed the deep-seated issues about why you hate your skin, about why you don't like the way you look, about, why you feel that you have to totally drastically change your entire appearance, you are not going to be happy because those still those core things are within you, and you're going to continue to keep doing. They say that sometimes about people who, I think that even with plastic surgery, they've gotten to a place now where they do more um they do more mental health investigations, let me put it that way, where people even coming for plastic surgery because you continue to get all this stuff done.
I
So,
think it depends on the provider.
well, yeah, that's true. And it depends on the money. But let's hope that that's what's taking place anyway. And I think that, it's so important that I'm doing right now, you and I are working on a manual about colorism and civility, because we have to be really kind and respectful to one another. And we have to try to understand where people are coming from.
Mhm.
Because people that are choosing to skin lighten, it's not, you know, it's not about demeaning them for doing it, but it's about showing love and grace and wanting to help them move to a place where they can understand and appreciate the beauty of their dark skin and the beauty of the way God made them. Because one of the things that I share is that, God is the master creator.
Yes, he is.
God is the master artist. And very rarely do you go anywhere and find art that is one color.
Mm.
Nobody paints with one color or two colors. People paint with all kinds of color.
Mm.
And so why would God do any less than how he's created us to be? And so God created us, the master creator, created all of us with different colors and different shades and different hues and different hair and different, he was creating.
Yeah.
And he didn't create anyone to be any better than anyone else. God created us all, and he's the master creator, and he used all the creativity that he's given all of us. He had it first, so he used all of the creativity that he's given us. And just as we appreciate works of art, we need to appreciate God's work of art. But each
Amen.
of us is a work of art by the master creator. And
Yeah.
when we begin to understand that and realize it and help others to realize that how God made you is absolutely beautiful.
It is. It
It's
is.
beautiful. And God does not just decide, he doesn't say, oh, let me make this ugly. However he made you beautiful.
That's it.
So
And
really begin to understand that and embrace it and decide that we are going to, which is the mission of the color of beautiful, we are going to help other people discover that
yeah.
you are so beautiful.
Yeah. And it's about healing. And you always, and healing is a process, but you do have to take the time to really heal from all the hurts that you've experienced in relation to your color.
And it's a process.
It's a process. And I think that sometimes there are people who are still suffering the effects of it, who just have never even addressed it because they don't even know that that is really what has impacted the way they see themselves.
Yes.
And so, like you say, those people who do skin bleach, it's not, we're not condemning them.
No.
We just ask that, you really need to look at why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Do you really love yourself when you're doing that to your body? To please who? Because, Malcolm X said, who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Right.
Because that's what it is. It's taught.
Right.
It's taught because children, you put a 2-year-olds, two-year-olds in the room and they're just having a ball.
Mm-hmm.
They don't bring enough, skin color does not come into the issue until an adult brings it up.
Right.
So
we have to.
The loathing of your skin is something that's taught.
Mm-hmm. And we have to tell our children how beautiful they are. We speak beauty to them. It is critical that we do that so that they grow up knowing that they are beautiful and that all the people that God made
Are beautiful.
are beautiful.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's what we've got to do.
That's it.
Our time is up. That was quick.
It was.
And we could sit here and talk about this for a very long time.
Yeah.
I just want to close. Well, you first, Reem. What do you want to say in closing?
So, in closing, I believe, and I'm going to be honest, you really need to look at what's in the products you're using. Because I do recall as a young person, I've got these spots on my face and I wanted to remove them. I wanted them to, I wanted to even out my skin tone. And I bought a product, I believe it was Ambi. And I put that on once or twice and that stuff started burning my face and I was done. Not knowing that that's basically a skin lightening cream. So when there's nothing wrong with, trying to get scars removed, and there's nothing wrong with trying to get, some people scar badly from acne, or if you just have a dark spot on your face or a birthmark or something that you're just uncomfortable with to the point where, it's affecting how you interact with people, and you just really need to get that removed. It's one spot maybe, or a couple spots, that's fine. But make sure that the products that you're using are safe. And if necessary, consult a dermatologist and go through the pros and cons of how you're going to treat that issue.
Right.
And so it's so important because you don't want to inadvertently create a problem for yourself.
That's right. And that's so important. That is so important. And I would say to anyone out there who may be listening, and I encourage you guys to invite people to listen to this show that we've done. And I want to say to anybody out there who is not feeling that you are beautiful, or not feeling that, or feeling that you have to make drastic changes in your appearance to be accepted, that you reach out to someone to help you to come to an understanding of why you're feeling that way, and to help you to get beyond that feeling. You can reach out to us here at thecolorofbeautiful.com. And if it's something that we can work through with you, we will do that. If not, we know people that we can refer you to if it's something that's more than what we can do for you, because we are not mental health providers. But however, we are, yes, however, we are able to coach you, do some coaching, and to help you. But if you need a mental health provider, please don't feel that there's any shame in that, because there's not. Getting help is what's important. And Dr. Charles joined us. He said, Black women especially must learn to love themselves as they are. Yes, sir. He's got a beautiful wife too.
Yes.
So, we have to begin to understand how beautiful we are, and that we are. And I tell you, Dr. Charles has an amazing show, and I got to talk to him about Africa. And, I think it's so important that we begin to really understand where we came from and who we are and the beautiful people that we came from. And even though, there are some issues with skin lightening in Africa, because they say that 75% of Nigerian women skin bleach. And so, what has happened in parts of Africa, even where the continent that is the birthplace of civilization, people are being convinced that they are not beautiful. And go to Africa, and let me tell you, you will see some of the most beautiful people walking the face of the earth. Okay. So we need to begin to also understand where we come from, and what our history is, and what our heritage is, so that we can begin to really, really, really tap into how beautiful and amazing that we really are. So thank you all so much for joining us for this show, and encourage all of your dark-skinned girls that they are beautiful. The light-skinned girls too. Tell them that they are beautiful too. And let them know that we are going to love one another, that we are going to be civil and accept civility as we work through these issues that we have with our skin. We're going to do it with love. We're going to do it with respect. And we are going to do it with honor. So thank you all so, so much for being here with us today. Dr. Karen Moore and my sister Renee Moore, we thank you so much. Be blessed. Have a wonderful evening, and go be beautiful.
All right now.
Night, beautiful.